Good morning and happy Monday. I hope and pray that you all are well today as we begin this Holy Week in preparation for Easter coming up on Sunday. Y'all know I call it Resurrection Sunday, Victory Sunday, the day that Christ claimed the victory for each and every one of us. And I tell you what, y'all can probably tell I get excited when I talk about that. I want to remind you of a prayer request this morning, or not remind you, but make you aware of it, excuse me. But if you would, keep the family of Brittany Gibson in your prayers. Brittany was the wife of a cousin of mine, and she passed away last night after a very gallant fight with cancer. And I was thinking about this morning, you know, cancer didn't win that battle. It might have taken away her body, but it didn't take away her spirit. So understand this. We have difficult times. Illnesses come amongst us, but they do not win the battle. They might claim the body, but they don't win the battle. So keep her, my cousin Calvin, keep him lifted up in your prayers. Their little boy Oliver, and the rest of their family in this difficult time. So I was thinking this morning as I came to understand that Brittany had passed away. We suffer a lot. And last week during my military duty, it was just a bunch of Army chaplains, and we were just kind of fine-tuning the skills that a lot of us already had, and some were newer chaplains and were still learning, but fine-tuning those skills that we would need to use in a combat situation. And one thing that was brought up, and it's very, very poignant, and it's very necessary, not just in the military context, but it's to have a theology of suffering. And suffering's going to come. There's no way around that. Christ never promised us that we would go without it. Matter of fact, John chapter 16 and verse 33, Christ said, "In this world you will endure tribulation." But I love what he said after that. Y'all know I say this all the time. He said, "But be of good cheer, I have overcome the world." And how good it is to remember that as we begin this week, heading toward Easter, heading toward Victory Sunday. But this morning I was thinking of the book of Job, and anytime that we endure suffering, or someone around us endures suffering, we tend to think of Job. And in Job chapter number 1, we see, starting in verse number 13, that Job's family, his possessions, everything just gets wiped out. And the servants come and tell Job about it. And I like what the servants say every time they come to tell Job what's happened. They said, "And I alone have escaped to tell you." But in verse number 20 of Job chapter number 1 here, this is what I want to focus on this morning as we talk about this theology of suffering. "Then Job arose, tore his robe, and shaved his head, and he fell to the ground and worshipped. And he said, 'Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked shall I return there. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord.'" Verse 22, "In all this, Job did not sin, nor charge God with wrong." Imagine what it took for Job to have that kind of faith. No doubt he was very grieved. No doubt he was very hurt, but he used his faith. In those times when we're grieved, in those times when we are hurt, nothing's gonna take that hurt away. We're always gonna have that. But what do we do with it? Do we use our faith? Do we rely on God? Faith is real easy when everything is going well in our life. But when we have difficulties in our life, when we have hardship, when we have grief, when we have just that unbearable difficulty, do we use our faith then? It says that Job did not charge God with any of this. How often do we, when we encounter times of difficulty, question God? And there's nothing wrong with questioning God, but how many times do we say, "Why did you do this to me, God?" I got news for each and every one of us, and I've said this before, this is not anything new. We live in a sinful creation. So all of the things that we suffer are a result of that. God didn't promise that they would just go away just because we had faith, but He did promise that when we go through them, we use our faith He's going to be right there holding our hand as we go through it. So I hope this gives you some encouragement today, and I hope and pray that you just continue to use, refine, hone your faith. Have a theology of suffering, because that's the kind of faith that'll get us through those difficulties. I'm not saying it's easy, but what I am saying is that we have to do it, because ultimately God's going to get the glory. We may as well allow Him to have that glory by exercising the faith that we have in Him. So I hope and pray that today is a wonderful, wonderful day for you. It's going to be a beautiful day, so you enjoy it and continue to be in praise to God for His wonderful work. Love you folks, and I'll talk to you a little bit later. God bless you.